Alrighty, so the triple header in terms of today's first round playoff action in MLS is in the books. And coming into this playoff game, we were 4 for 4 in terms of home team in the playoffs. So I had a feeling that if there was a game that end the streak of home team winning all of these playoff games, it was going to be this one, mainly because St. Louis, despite the fact that they clinched the top seed in the Western Conference, they haven't really looked that good in the past month, and Sporting KC have been relatively red hot, and not to mention they obviously get the momentum after getting the win against the Quakes in the wild card round, and well, it turns out that the streak indeed comes in terms of home team winning these playoff games, though yeah, this was definitely not the scoreline I thought it was going to be the case. I mean, to be fair, I know that this rivalry, there's been some crazy scoreline and there's been blowouts that has happened, but I didn't think this was going to be one of them. But I think the reason why it turns out to be that way is because this was a combination of Peter Vermes and Sporting KC put on a classic playoff clinic, and St. Louis City and Bradley Carnell got it absolutely wrong in terms of the tactics and the lineup choice in this game. Now, early on in the first half, despite the fact that kickoff was 9:25 p.m. local time and it was a cold, rainy night in St. Louis, City Park was rocking. I mean, it was packed to the rafter. They were making a lot of noise, and again, just give a lot of credit to the St. Louis fan. I mean, they've been with this club since day one, and the hype is definitely there, even though it was a cold, rainy night. Though, yeah, as we know that hype and that party atmosphere would quickly zap the way with every Sporting KC goal that was scored in this one. And I thought early on St. Louis had most of the possession, but I thought that was by design because I'm pretty sure Peter Remies know that if St. Louis is going to be a team that's going to try to press, well, why not? We'll just give them the ball. We'll just give them the ball and we'll let them have possession because there's been times this season St. Louis has problem in terms of breaking down team, and that as expected, that was kind of the case throughout this game. And as also expected, things were very tight early in this game. It feels like both teams were just kind of feeling out each other, and it was a very highly anticipated game. In fact, there was only one shot through 17 minutes in this game, and I think that was also the approach for Peter Mays coming into this one, where as long as you survive the press and as long as you are able to let St. Louis have all the possession and keep this game nil-nil for as long as possible. While the crowd, of course, is still going to be rocketing, at least you're going to keep this close. And the fact that St. Louis can't always go with the press throughout the entire game. Now, in the 20th minute, we did see the first real opportunity when Melia denied Vasilev on this chance, but he did give up a rebound here, and he was very fortunate that he was not punished here because he gave up this rebound in a bad spot, and that I think it was very fortunate for Sporting KC that there wasn't really any St. Louis player trying to get to the rebound there. And keep in mind, because of the fact that it was raining throughout this game, especially in the first half, that's always going to be tough for goalkeeper in terms of handling those shots on a weather night like we had in this game in St. Louis. But in the 24th minute, Leuven would miss wide on the free kick. So very quiet night for Edouard Leuven in this one, and really a quiet night for that St. Louis attack that has been so lethal throughout this season. But in the 27 minutes, speaking of quiet, Ndembe would score here from Polito and Kinda, and that quickly silenced the 22,000 inside the stadium. By the way, this was also Logan Ndembe's first career MLS goal. So yeah, what a way for you to score your first career MLS goal in a playoff game in this rivalry to open the scoreline. Though that lead quickly evaporated because just 1 minute later on the other end, Tim Parker would score on the set piece here to tie the game up at one apiece, and you're thinking, well, we are in for a good one. Looks like it's going to be a back and forth affair, right? Well, at least it looked like it was, because just 8 minutes later, Sporting KC retakes the lead. It's Remy Voltaire. He scored from Sharawee to make it 2-1 in favor of Sporting KC. Berkey originally make the save there, but it just fall back to Voltaire, and he buries that one. Though the big culprit in this goal that St. Louis concede is not clearing their lines. How many times we have said throughout this playoffs, throughout this season, when you don't clear the ball away and you let your opposition still have chances, you're eventually going to get punished. And St. Louis here didn't clear their lines there, and eventually they were punished because of that. And to make matters worse, 2 minutes later, Gadi Kinda would score an absolute golazo from Shelton to make it 3-1 in favor of Sporting KC. Now, as much as it was a great goal that was scored by Gadi Kinda, there was a question whether or not if Shelton did handball that one, and they actually did check VAR to see whether or not if this was considered a handball. They said no, and I think in the end they got the call right. I don't think it was clear and obvious. I mean, it's kind of like in that gray area where it kind of hit his shoulder and hand there, where again because the original call is goal, I just don't see enough evidence for them to overturn that call. But yeah, that made it 3-1 in this one, and Miro, it's just unraveling for St. Louis. I mean, the 22,000 inside was completely stunned silence. The only noise you can hear is from the small pocket of Sporting KC fan that braved the weather and also the intimate atmosphere to be in the same, because they were definitely in party mode, and definitely enjoying the fact that yeah, I mean that home crowd, it was just rocking the beginning of the game. You can hear a pin drop by the end of the first half. So we go to halftime with Sporting KC leading 3-1, and in the second half, no changes for St. Louis, which was very surprising because after what we saw in the first half, I think Taylor Twelman mentioned the fact that he would be surprised that Bradley Cornell did not make changes, and I think he probably was surprised too, and I think maybe even St. Louis fans was surprised because whatever Bradley Cornell did in the first half did not work whatsoever, and the tactics he used was completely wrong, and I thought he was going to change it up in the second half, but no, I mean there was no changes just in that again, which was a very surprising thing because they were badly outplayed in that first half, both on the defensive side and the attacking side. On the attacking side, they couldn't get anything going whatsoever, and then on the defensive side, they were absolutely a mess in terms of the back line being disjointed and making on mistakes that we haven't seen St. Louis have made a lot this season on the defensive front. So that being said, in the 49th minute, Kinda would hit it right to Berkey after just a terrible giveaway from St. Louis. I wrote whatever Bradley Cornell said at halftime clearly did not work for the St. Louis side because in the 61st minute, Daniel Shaarawy would score from Polito and Kinda to make it 4-1 in favor of St. Louis City. And again, just terrible set piece defending there for St. Louis. You cannot allow a player in the front post to flick it toward the back post because when you decide to let your attacker get there first, yeah, you're definitely in serious trouble. And yeah, St. Louis were made to pay because of that. Berkey then had to tip Kinda free kick over, and then Parker had to clear the header off the line. That came off of a turnover too, which again, that was once again a problem in this game too. I mean, in the first half, it wasn't really that; it was just mainly because of them not marking very well. But in the second half, it was just simply they just keep turning the ball over and over again. But you can see there was no mercy for Sporting KC, and why not? This is your main rival. You're not going to go easy on St. Louis after what St. Louis did to Sporting KC this season at City Park. They were pushing for a fifth goal. Berkey would deny Shelton from close range. Before on the other end, Melia would deny Klaus from close range. The ref was Anto. He really sucked because they thought that Bloom not only did not commit the foul on Polito, but he probably shouldn't get booked. And I think I do agree with the crowd there. I mean, you know, I thought that was kind of a soft call, and also I don't think that that's worthy of a yellow card. Like if anything, I think you can say that is called a foul. But I don't think that was a yellow card. And knowing the fact that the crowd were clearly restless after seeing their team absolutely getting dismantled in this one, yeah, you know that they're not going to be happy when the referee have decision that goes against them. So yeah, the ref you suck chant was definitely ringing loudly in the crowd. And also during that chant, you can also see some empty seats inside City Park. It was pretty empty by the time when we hit into the final 5 minutes. You can see the St. Louis fan was making their way to their exit. And in the second minute of stoppage time, Melia would deny Klaus from close range. And yeah, in the end, Sporting KC with a big 4-1 win against St. Louis City. Now, the only good news for St. Louis City in this one is because this is a best of three series, they're not officially eliminated. I mean, if this was not a best of three series, they would definitely be eliminated. But the bad news is that man, they got absolutely outplayed in this game against Sporting KC. And this also goes back to what I've said before, where one of the things I do worry about St. Louis coming into this is one, I don't think Sporting KC is a good opponent for them to face their first ever playoff game. In fact, I would say that that's probably the worst opponent for them to face because you're basically facing against a rival that knows how to play against you, and they're definitely going to be up for the game itself. And two, you're facing against a Sporting KC side that has so much experience in the playoffs. Like a lot of those guys that is playing under with Peter Vermees, they've been with this team for a long time, so they're not afraid of this intimate atmosphere that City Park was generating. I mean, don't get me wrong, St. Louis fan, they did try their best to be the 12 men, but for Sporting KC, they've been in this kind of environment multiple times throughout their playoff adventure, and it was not a big surprise that that was the case in this game where they play relatively well. But the shots in this one, 15 shots for the 10 that St. Louis had, 6 shots on goal for the 11 that Sporting KC had, 2 shots off target for the 4 that St. Louis had, no shots that was blocked for the 2 that Sporting KC had, and possession-wise, 57% possession compared to the 43% possession that Sporting KC had, and we'll see how game 2 of this series is going to bring to us in just a bit, in a couple of days. But yeah, there you have it. That is pretty much it for this video. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you leave a like and smash the subscribe button. And let me know in the comments below what do you think of this game. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys next time.